Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Natural Misfits podcast. As we know, we are all going to be taking a break from campaign one for a short while, so campaign two can be prepared. So in the meantime, we decided to record a bunch of in between episodes, just like little spin-offs, where we talk about like regular topics and our thoughts on them. So
You go ahead.
today we thought we would start with for the first episode, we thought we'd talk about how we each got into D&D at first. Uh, if anyone would like to go first, please speak up.
I guess. Just for the sake of the video and those people who listen, some people couldn't make it, and we want everyone to be there for the finale of the campaign, which was intended to be today, but people couldn't make it, so we're going to reschedule the actual campaign until everyone can make it and everyone can be there.
Hey, I gotta see.
So, Robbie, would you like to go first and talk about how you got introduced to D&D?
Let's see. I think there's two answers to that, I guess. Like, I remember ages and ages ago, my eldest sibling tried to get me into D&D. I think it was like 3rd edition at that point in time. And so I really didn't get the concept at that point. Like, when they said that let's play a game, I expected there to be like a board game and things to do. I wasn't familiar with the concept of just playing a game with your imagination, and so I made a werewolf character, and we did a little bit of dungeon crawling, but that was it. But my actual real first thing of interaction with like actual D&D was by my uncle. Actually, he DM'd a game, and my brothers and my cousin, we played a game, and that was my first real first thing into D&D. I had an archer wizard. It was an archer magic mix class kind of thing. I forget which class specifically, but he was a high elf. I named him Zhao, and he was kind of a badass. But really boring though, because I hadn't really grasped the concept of like the role playing aspect of the game at that point. So it was mainly just like a combat class, I guess. And I don't know if it was a homebrew campaign, but we had to stop like a slave guild kind of thing. We never finished that campaign. But yeah, that's what got me into it.
Flame, would you like to say how you got into D&D?
I can't imagine it's anywhere near too entertaining, but the first thing I ever saw about D&D growing up was I don't know where it came from, but I found a set of books at my house. And it was the Icewind Dale trilogy. And I didn't know it was D&D.
Oh no, I was just going to say that is a good trilogy.
It is. And I just was a rabid reader at the time and didn't know it was D&D related, and I adored them. I started trying to find everything fantasy I could. Later on, found out it was D&D, and just my appetite for it just increased from there. And eventually, I was given books from people who were downsizing their libraries, and continued trying to find people I got along with well enough to do games with. More often than not, that didn't work out, but I mean, here I am now.
Nice. Ari, you want to go?
No, I'm good.
Alright. Locke.
Man, I actually got started in D&D about 4 years ago now. It was through a friend who sadly passed away recently. We went to college together, and he saw how much of a fantasy nerd I was, and so he invited me to come and play his D&D campaign. And I'm like, okay, sure, I'll give it a try. I made the biggest mistake of having my first character be a magic user.
Uh-oh.
I like I said, very first time playing, and I decided to go with one of the most difficult classes to play.
What was it, like wizard?
Sorcerer.
Oh, the little paper thin man. Dies to 1d4 cringe damage.
Yeah. But I somehow managed to not use any magic and kill things with only a dagger.
Oh.
But that's my story.
That reminds me. I don't know what the dagger thing reminds me of my brother's character in that first campaign with my uncle. His character was named Pargelberg. He was a human rogue. And funnily enough, ever since then, in any medium, he's always had a character named Pargelberg as a homage to that one D&D character. But the thing is, he was really bad at doing just about anything. Like one time we were chasing a bunch of goblins, because we wanted to kill them. They were causing trouble, and so he chased the goblins through the door. And two more from behind the door just bashed his face in with a shield, knocking him out instantly. He had the lowest kill count of anyone in our party. And I think the first kill he ever got was completely on accident with a magic throwing knife against a giant lizard.
Ooh.
He just barely got lucky enough to get a crit.
Okay, I have a question now.
Okay.
What's the craziest D&D character any of you have made up to date?
Well, I never got to say how I got introduced.
Oh, right.
But for me, my earliest form of D&D, I had no idea if I ever heard of it prior, but it goes back to high school. I remember I was in stage crew at the time, and I've been good friends with several members on there. And some of them would talk about how they play D&D, and eventually my curiosity got the better of me, and I wanted to give it a try. So, I believe it was after school that we did this, or maybe it was during lunch. I'm trying to think after school. We would all get together, and this only lasted a couple nights because our schedules were the production overwhelmed us, so we had to just drop it. But I do know that we played. I think we were playing an actual one of the books from the game. I just don't know which one. It was a long time ago. All I remember is it started off with us in an underground prison, and we needed to find our way out. The character I played, which I created, was a Dampier, half human, half vampire. I cannot remember his name. All I remember mostly from it is at one point I failed a roll and I ended up getting thrown 100 feet across the lake. But it was a fun memory, and I never revisited D&D up until back in 2020 when you invited me to your game session, which was the first game I did prior to the reset, and we did this podcast.
So that was Katie's previous campaign?
Yeah, the one that
Right.
was super cringy.
No, it was fun though.
I mean, we fought a D&D version of General Grievous.
We had, so for those listening, before we started doing this campaign, Katie, our DM, did her own homebrew campaign, and at various points we had a Star Wars crossover and a Batman crossover.
Oh yeah.
We never finished that campaign. We ended somewhere around close to the end of the Batman crossover.
Yeah, 'cause I felt like it wasn't going anywhere, and in all honesty, I did lost my spark for that campaign and didn't have the energy to continue it.
But I think that campaign was what really took me off into like more roleplay aspect, because my character in that campaign
Was
Dorvin.
broken.
Yeah, his name was Dorvin. He was a deep gnome barbarian, and he earned the moniker Dorvin the Dragon Slayer because not once, not twice, but 3 times he almost single-handedly killed a dragon by himself. He was.
That was also the campaign that was that was also the campaign that gave birth to Steve.
Oh yeah, Steve was born from that campaign.
Relicus is also a character I just took over. I just brought from that campaign as well.
Yeah.
Steve was like, a bunch of Dragonborns attacked us in the night, kidnapped some of our party. I managed to catch one, tie him up, and interrogate him.
I gave him a stupid French
accent, named him Steve, and he stuck around.
Like somehow you were all convinced not to kill him, and you let him slip.
Oh, Dorvin was absolutely wanting to kill the guy, but everyone else was like, "No, don't kill the Frenchman."
He took refuge in our Robo Jesus's back.
All right, he and Talos were like, I think he and Talos became like best friends. Now that we've all covered our intros, I guess we can all now talk about our craziest characters you've ever made. So, who would like to go first for that?
Your question, was that ever played or just made?
Made.
Well, okay. I haven't actually written out a character sheet for this one, but it's like if I ever do another campaign like separate from this one, like maybe later, this is a character I want to try. And he is a talking horse. I think I told everyone here in the session about this. He's a talking horse. And you'd think there'd be some he's just a normal person, but he got transformed into a horse. No, he's just born like that. His mother was a centaur, and his father was a horse-headed minotaur, and he just got He has a sister who is not human, but by all accounts just looks human. And he's a rogue, obviously, because no one would ever expect the horse to be the culprit for anything.
I think I talked about how when you told me that character, I just mentioned him being voiced by Gilbert Gottfried.
Okay, but how do you... no thumbs?
He can... He
has a mouth. He can stab with the mouth.
Also, like I said, I haven't actually... It's more of a concept that I want to try in the future.
And I could actually see it kind of working, and I'm here for it.
I've heard of something similar with a bear, like a bear. He becomes a noble. He maxes out his bluff and disguise and everything. So no one really believes he's anything other than a bear. I mean, everyone believes he's like an actual person, not a bear. And he gets himself a servant that knows how to talk bear, so they translate things for him.
All right, LaFane, was there ever a wild character you came up with that you remember?
I never really got too much of a chance to make too many wild characters, but I did throw people off the last time I tried to play D&D by having a cleric of the god of knowledge. Because they took inflict harm rather because they were neutral. It took inflict instead of cure, and everyone's just like, oh, you need to be healing our party. It's like, I'm not that kind of cleric. What?
You're the battle cleric.
Well, no, I wasn't a battle cleric either. My character only went out adventuring if it got them a reward for getting more knowledge.
Okay, so like tones.
So they were not for the greater good, but they're not a death cleric or anything. It's just like, no, I am out for myself and what my god wants, and that is all knowledge.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right,
it annoyed everybody.
Harry, was there ever a wild character you remember making?
Wait, did Ari join the call?
Yeah.
She did? Okay.
Huh?
Was Eric? We're talking about. Was there ever a character that you remember that was just so wild and crazy that you made?
I don't know. All of them are really biologically correct, so I wouldn't imagine no. I didn't.
No.
Alright,
As
Locke,
far as
what?
Amethyst being the weirdest character I've ever made, but you've seen her. She's pretty.
Yeah, honestly, she has a really cool design.
Well, she's a mixture between. Well, she's a Simic, and she's Fey Wild, along with
What's a Simic?
other things kind of mixed in there. Hence why she has 2 sets of arms, 4 eyes, and 2 horns, and a face.
And her skin changes depending on the season, right?
Oh. Yep. I'm not sure if is she considered wild by any standards, because she kind of makes sense.
Locke, you ever make a wild character?
Yeah, and I'm currently playing her in another campaign. Her name is Maiden, and she is a centaur rogue. I absolutely love playing her. She is a mix of refined yet chaotic.
Refined? Oh, really? She's refined?
She can be, if absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I guess you're not wrong, but that's like 10% of the time.
Exactly.
I think didn't you kick another player in the fucking shoulder and shatter it?
Yeah, there was a point where we had to try and get into a hospital to see someone. I wanted to go for another player, but he was blocked off by Ari here, so I had to go for our NPC buddy. I went around, rear kicked him, and shattered his shoulder.
And the doctor went on the assumption that they were dating. Man, that was a good ass session this morning.
For me, I wouldn't say I have ever made a wild. I've only ever made 2 when it came to D&D, the Dampier and Religus. So I wouldn't say any of my characters are wild. Although the persona character I am creating that will be. Well, Locke, do you want to talk about the future of the campaigns? Do you want to talk about Rise of Tiamat and the Eberron campaign, or would you rather
We
save
don't
those
need
for another time?
spoilers. They need to wait in anticipation now.
Well, we weren't going to spoil anything. We're just going to talk about the setting of them.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I guess we could explain the setting.
Alright, well, Rise of Tiamat, which will be our sequel series to Hoard of the Drunken Queen, will be set a month after the first finale.
And it's almost it almost has this kind of apocalyptic feel, kind of.
For the first, I'm gonna say it's most likely a prologue. For the prologue, it will mainly focus on our group just kind of stay alive and are currently on the run as the cult is hunting us.
I have a question. So many questions, because it's the first time I've heard of it. Honestly. So,
Go ahead.
are we gonna still keep our levels, or are we gonna go back to nothing?
No, we're gonna keep our levels.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah,
We're not restarting until Eberron, which is the third campaign.
Alright.
Yeah, because Rise of Tiamat, this campaign, I guess depending on your DM, you can succeed in your mission at the end of this campaign, but with the Rise of Tiamat, it is implied that you fail in this campaign, just due to its existence.
Yeah, obviously. But, I mean, just, wow.
That reminds me, we do have, for the finale, this I guess this is a spoiler, but it doesn't really spoil any of the main plot. We did hire a voice actor to play one of the villains.
Wait, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Really?
he's done a 4-minute monologue.
Yeah, we're gonna. If you guys want, we can listen to it during the session. But Religus here, who is my editor, will be editing in the audio during the video.
We're gonna let you guys hear. Essentially, we're gonna let you guys listen to the monologue before the game starts, so you know what he'll be saying, and that way, when when we get to the part where he says his monologue and everyone stays silent so we can edit it in. And once it's done, you can respond however we want to it. Would you guys like to hear it now or wait until the finale?
I'd like to wait.
Wait,
I'd like to
yeah,
wait,
I don't
yeah.
really care
Let's
much,
wait
to be
until it's
honest.
actually seen.
Okay.
All right.
He did a really great job with it too. Like the guy, he's a YouTuber. He actually has a web series called Mortal Kombat Roomies.
Oh God.
It's literally like the different ninjas as roommates.
I assume it's like one of those obscure YouTubers that you watch.
I wouldn't say he's obscure.
I don't know anything about him. I've never heard of him.
Well, there are hundreds of well, to be fair, there are hundreds of YouTubers you probably never heard of.
Yeah, well, thousands.
I'm sure.
You,
I mean, I bet no one
YouTuber.
heard about us, just being honest. I'm surprised anyone watches this.
Oh, we do. I mean, we have a following on Reddit. We got a following on YouTube.
We're on Reddit.
Yeah, like
What?
I've been posting episodes on Reddit.
Well,
and
that's
we've gotten
news
a-
to everyone here.
I've been posting on Reddit. We've gotten a surge of views.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. I guess.
Are they following the little love triangle?
Well, there was that one
It's okay,
comment.
They hate me. I'm here
There's
to
that-
be hated. Thank
There
you.
was that one comment who was just like, I don't know, like a random user who was just like, I don't know whether I ship Tanithel and Airy or Sam and Airy.
Okay, so
Or Tenafel and Sam?
bit of
Yeah.
a crazy thing going on here. Since Sam isn't here, might as well go ahead and air this out just a bit. But yeah, I like to roleplay a lot. And Sam is in that same boat, and sometimes when we do games, to get to the plot, to the initial plot, we have to kind of make some liberties. So there hasn't been a lot of room for actual that triangle to expand a bit.
I mean, I guess you could
But
try
I
to
want
write
to say in the near future there might be more opportunities where that triangle might expand a bit.
I mean, yeah, Rise of Tiamat, me and Mike have agreed, like, we're still working on the prologue, but Rise of Tiamat will have a somewhat more serious tone, but there might be chances for the triangle to expand.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, as far as triangle expanding, it's gonna be some kind of weird polygon because, how I'm playing them is that they like both Tenafel and Sam, but Sam is real good at flirting, so that's why sometimes Eri gets mad at him when he's flirting because, hey, Tenafel's mine. You're not supposed to do that. And then it's like, wait, why is Tenafel still here? Does he like us? We need to keep this going. So we had a mutual agreement off screen, a mutual agreement at a bar that we would continue to terrorize Tenafel because it's hilarious.
I do remember that one episode. I do remember that. What was that one session when it was near the end of chapter 4, and you would say we're just going in on Tanithel, and like he was such a blushing mess.
Oh my god! And you know what? I'm sorry, guys, if my shit makes people uncomfortable. I'm here to be behaved.
I wouldn't say I was uncomfortable with it. I was more like just, wow, you guys are really going in on it.
Yeah, it's like need
you were
the little spicy tag on that one.
That was a spicy episode.
But the thing is that it gets better because, again, we assume that Tenafel is in love with Sam because of how much they talk. Aries' whole entire dynamic on that is just, okay, so I'm not a part of this triangle, but I'm gonna try.
For the band of Misfits, speaking of the band of Misfits, the first 3 campaigns will focus on them. All I will say about Eberron, like I'm going to leave it as vague as possible, is it will feature the band of Misfits. It'll be their final adventure, and everyone is restarting at level 1. That's all that can be said about that campaign.
At the time of Eberron.
And what time would that be so there's no ugly surprises for me?
Sometime after the end of Rise of Tiamat.
Okay, well I guess that's fair.
Yeah, like there is going to be like a little epilogue that'll lead into Eberron.
was thinking, just bullshit here,
Sure,
but
go ahead.
since I have been creating a couple worlds on my own, I was thinking about including both all y'all. So just a heads up.
I mean,
like
sure. I mean, since we could do it like this, Ari. Since once Brandon Misfits trilogy is completed, I'll be doing my own homebrew campaign, and if you want, we could talk about referencing your world, and then later, maybe down the line in another campaign, you could.
Oh no! This world is completely bullshit. Like I've made it from the ground up. It's gonna have heavy RP tones, which means there's gonna be less dice rolls and more RP.
Oh, well, same for mine. Like, well, mine will have like a mix, but it will mainly focus on the story. But if you do want down the line to revisit the Band of Misfits, you can do it. If you want to be the DM, you're feel free to do it.
Look, man, I'm okay doing my ground zeros mainly because they are not perfect. I'm not expecting perfection, but there's a lot of leeway, which I will give you.
Yeah,
but keep in mind that I will not let you walk all over me.
I'm not saying I wouldn't think of it.
Yeah, but Ari, I think there's a D&D type game, type game. I don't want to call it setting, but whatever. It's called Blue Rose, and I believe it's like similar to D&D, but it's more heavily on the role play and the social aspect rather than everything's a combat this and combat that.
So to start off with, I did have a ground zero with this particular thing of mine. It does take place out of school-esque place. You do get to meet a variety of characters that apparently I'm a masochist because I just have to include that many. So you will each there is quite a couple of students that do go to this particular academy. I'm going to call it an academy, lack of a better word. The thing is, the magic is dying in the actual world, and you people, or kids rather, or teenagers, whatever you want to say, are going to this academy for your protection, while the adults handle the major flock of the lack of magic and trying to figure it out. This world is made out of 2 world dragons that had slowly branched off over time into 3 different fragments of themselves all over the world. In which case, you'll get to that later. The first where you start is the Academy Proving Ground.
You sure you want to spoil that much of the story right now?
Well, I don't really care, personally, because things can take a left or a right in D&D. So that means, like, even if I say this, doesn't mean you're going to end up there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair.
But I am telling you there is no magic, except for on the grounds, the academy grounds.
Yeah, I got you. For my campaign, which will be campaign number 4 of this podcast, it is like Aries. It will be a homebrew world made from the ground up. It will have elements from several other stories from D&D, but it'll mainly be its own thing. But it is mainly inspired by a fantasy story I tried to write back in 2016. I started working on it, but I just quickly burned out. But with D&D, I finally got the inspiration to finally work on it again to expand the story. I'm really happy to do it. And like many of you guys have all major characters. Well, not everyone. There's still a few who I think there's about 2 who have not made their characters for that world yet.
I think I have one, right?
Yeah, you're using Amethyst.
Yeah, the 4-armed tall-ass lady. Giant woman!
Robbie, you made your character for my campaign, right?
He's half finished.
Giant woman!
No, your campaign. No, I made the character for.
Oh, right. Like, oh no, you made your character for.
Granny is not going to be a part. No, it's not spoiling the thing. I'm just letting people know. Granny will not be part of Eberron. She will retire after the end of.
And the one you're talking about for your kind of homebrewish one, that's the one I made my my little person for, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and honestly, your character is so freaking adorable.
Use this to my advantage.
All right. Well,
Amethyst
now that
believes in herself. She doesn't need no god, even though she's a cleric.
I don't need no god.
She doesn't! She's her own god. Not gonna lie. She's been doing all these acts of kindness ever since she escaped. But I mean, like, it is what it is. She believes in herself and all of her kind deeds.
Yeah, and I do know Locke is working on another campaign of her own to do. That's apparently a mix of 3 modules. Not modules, 3. Not
You
modules.
must be a masochist.
Locke is working on one that's a cross between 3 three books. I do know I plan to do a lot of campaigns featuring my homebrew world.
Oh yeah.
Like some big, some small. Like I do have like little spin-off ones that are just short tales.
I hope my character doesn't end up dying during any of this because I want to use her for ages.
Honestly, I don't want her to die either. She is too adorable. She's like this. The best way to describe her is without saying what she is. She's like the squishy bean of the group. Yeah. On a side note, outside of now that we've pretty much gone over all we can about our D&D game, I'm thinking we can move on to another topic if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah, never.
All right, well,
I'm
Robbie,
not here for that. Never, because I'll never grow up.
Never. Well, I was thinking.
Also, I'm never going to give you up, Barry.
Oh.
What? God dang it, LaFay.
She's never gonna turn around and face you, Ari.
I'm so upset. I'm ashamed to know you.
She's never gonna say goodbye.
I'm also never going to tell a lie and desert you.
It sounds real stalkerish if put in terms.
It does. Alright, Sam, welcome. We're just it's not the finale, we're just doing like a regular podcast episode where we talk about topics. So since you're here, Sam, I'll ask you the first question we all answered. What was your introduction to D&D?
Sam, I have a question for you. It is quick.
Well,
Cake or death?
I was just kind of chilling at the armory, and one of my buddies came up to me and asked, "Hey, you kind of like nerdy stuff? Have you ever played D&D?" And I was like, "No." Seemed interesting though. And he was like, "Well, I got a game going. You want to play?" That was it.
Alright, well, we also talked about like teasers for the upcoming campaigns, but now we're talking about deliveries you've ever had that went wrong. So do you have a delivery story that went wrong?
Hold on. You forgot one question.
Which is...
What was the craziest character you have ever made up to now?
Ah, right.
Oh, that was my first character. Yeah, he basically accidentally became forced Batman, and then he got mutated, and then he went insane.
Oh,
Basically, by the end, he was a batshit warlock that ended up, killing people who he had this weird view of good and evil. Yeah,
Batman.
It got real weird.
Chris Batman.